Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Alliance, your home on Geek Ultimate Alliance Podcast Network, where today, guys, we are going to be talking about the latest and greatest in Star Wars news, which would in fact be an Adam Driver interview. I did not see this happening, but we will also be talking about The Last Order, which is the new book by Kwame Mabalia, which came out yesterday as of the recording, so it came out October 21st. We have a review for that for you guys. If you are here live, you're going to be seeing both episodes. If you are on the podcast feeds, we have split the episodes up to make things a little bit easier on you guys because the hunt for Ben Solo could consume a ginormous amount of time. So,
yeah.
hi, Clay. Sorry, I just want to get all that out of the way.
No,
Here with me, guys.
I completely understand. And when you say that you did not expect this, I don't think anybody expect this.
No.
This hit us like a train. And when I say us, I think as a collective, planet Earth. Because I don't think I have ever seen my feed unified in completion like I did yesterday. This is absolutely insane.
This interview has been, I would say, with my limited amounts of social media that I still consume, this Hunt for Ben Solo interview has been talked about more than the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. By leaps and bounds. I'm not even joking.
I need to, I think maybe after this recording. Well, I don't know. I want to do a small little search. Like, do you know how people look at the Google Analytics for like searches and stuff? I want to see Mandalorian Grogu from the announcement, like just 24 hours, to see what that looks like compared to this interview, The Hunt for Ben Solo, and its last 24 hours. Because you are 100% correct. We have not seen a lot of enthusiasm over all the other Star Wars projects comparatively to this. Don't get me wrong. People got excited for Starfighter. People got excited for Ryan Gosling. There was a week-long conversation about Amy Adams and the possibility of her being Mara Jade. This is all true. But the fact that we have seen just a furious wave of people talking about this is absolutely insane.
Yeah, because you think about it, and a lot of the rumor with the Rise of Skywalker, with him dying, was the fact that it was rumored that Adam Driver wanted out. That he was very similar to Harrison Ford, only wanted to do the 3 movies and kind of be done.
Mm-hmm.
So, to find out that he concocted this thing back in 2021 and then brought in Steven Soderbergh. And guys, let me tell you, I don't know if I've seen a Steven Soderbergh movie. Just being real. But I know what caliber of filmmaker the dude is.
So I will be completely honest, I don't know who this person is. But everybody and their grandmother is saying that this would have been the greatest movie of all time just because he was attached to it.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I actually have seen his movies because he's done the Oceans movies. So Oceans 11, Oceans 12, Oceans 13, and actually I think he did Oceans 8 as well, but actually no, he did not. Okay, he's done Magic Mike, which I have also seen. and he has done Logan Lucky. The other ones that are kind of relevant is Contagion, King of the Hill, I think is a popular movie. But then that's all I'm kind of seeing recently. Or that's all I really know of recently. But the dude is known for being like a hot commodity. And I want to say that he has also been known for coming in under budget on pictures.
Okay.
So I don't know that for certain. I was trying to find a source, but I had heard that, and so I don't exactly know that for certain. I'm just so sad that this is not going to be a thing, because that's what Adam Driver says at the end of the interview of the quote. He said, it was called The Hunt for Ben Solo, and it was really cool, but it is no more, so I can finally talk about it. And to be honest, this does kind of feel Deadpool-esque.
That is the talk of the town today. Everyone that I have seen recently has made a post about like, oh, let's hope that Adam Driver just broke the biggest NDA possible so that way this can actually move forward. I don't know entirely how that works. So I don't know if him talking about it would legitimately make something happen. But the fact that he came out and said this, and then the biggest news around this, I think more so than just the fact that, hey, we could have gotten a Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, like, character-driven movie, is the fact that we are also seeing that all of the animosity that we have had towards Lucasfilm.
Let's finish with Steven Soderbergh's quote about
Okay,
it,
okay,
and then we'll
okay.
jump to that part of it, because that's going to totally derail us off into another topic. So,
Very true.
I just want to make sure we're getting the context of things first. So, Steven Soderbergh was not part of this interview originally, but he said in a statement, I really enjoyed making the movie in my head. I'm just sorry the fans won't get to see it. Lucasfilm and Disney, very specific there, two different sources, declined to comment to Associated Press, and they have also reached out to Burns' team for comment. Steven Soderbergh was going to direct and kind of came up with the storyboard. Scott Z. Burns, after Soderbergh and Rebecca Blunt and Driver outlined the story for Kathleen Kennedy, Carrie Beck, and Dave Filoni, they approved the story to go forward. And so Scott Z. Burns wrote a script that Driver called one of the coolest expletive scripts I have ever been a part of. It was motivated by Driver's thought that there was unfinished business with Ben Solo at the end of the third movie. And guys, this is an audio-only interview. I could not find an Associated Press transcript, so we're getting these quotes off of Star Wars News Net. You guys can go find that article.
I actually have the Associated Press article in front of me.
They did a transcript? I had looked for their transcript. Oh, they added it because it got so popular. That's what it is.
Yeah, I am actually going to put it into our little chat here so that way you can jump on this. But yeah, so it says here, it can finally talk about it, blah, blah, blah. It says, for Driver, who starred in Soderbergh's 2017 heist comedy Logan Lucky, the title sounded familiar, but I have no idea what that is.
That's the cowboy flick with James Bond actor.
Okay. The decision was mystifying. Who wouldn't want to see a Soderbergh directed Star Wars film? which was the quote. We want to be judicial about how to spend money and be economical with it and do it for less than most, but in the same spirit of what the movies are, which is handmade and character driven. Driver says, Empire Strikes Back being, in my opinion, the standard of what those movies were, but he is, to me, one of my favorite directors of all time. He lives his code, lives his ethics, and doesn't compromise.
Which we can definitely appreciate in a director nowadays, especially with um, how Disney and Lucasfilm have been towards directors. And it is hard to say Lucasfilm because of what else is presented in Adam Driver's quote. But we're going to finish this up before we dive into that piece. And obviously, we know Kathleen Kennedy is supposed to be stepping down at the end of the year to go back to solely producing and not leading Lucasfilm. So it's super interesting to see for sure. And Driver said, I always was interested in doing another Star Wars. I had been talking about doing another one since 2021. Kathleen Kennedy had reached out. I always said with a great director and a great story, I'd be there in a second. I loved that character and loved playing him. This is like brand new information. That was my first reaction when you sent me a text and was like, check the GUA chat. And I was like, what am I supposed to be checking the GUA chat for? I wasn't expecting any Star Wars news. And lo and behold,
well, because the really funny thing is, because everyone really associated Adam Driver's comments towards the franchise itself, everybody's like, oh, he is just like Ford. He hates the franchise. He wants to move on. He's doing this for a paycheck, and then he's going to go do Oscar bait movies. Like, this is who Adam Driver is, right? Yep. And people don't understand that people can change. People can fall in love with the genre. This is what happens to many people throughout history. Like, as far as like me, like, I've always loved Star Wars, but I have never been this much of a Star Wars fan until I started Star Wars Alliance with Katie. So when I saw this, there was a lot of emotions throughout the internet, like I was saying before. With that, I am looking at some of the things that were said. I think this would be a good time to kind of transition into some of the tidbits, not everything, but one of the biggest things is the comments that Iger had said as the quote-unquote excuse to why this movie isn't being made in the first place, people.
And guys, we're going to talk about Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy in Lucasfilm versus Disney apparently here, because that is like the next big topic of this. We're going to dive into, we also have an area where we're going to talk about how we think Ben Solo would be alive after we get done with Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy. I'm trying to direct this a little bit. And
yes.
Because this is a lot. So
I thank you, because I was going into today just completely worried about how derailed we were going to get in this conversation. So thank you.
We have to stay focused.
Yes. So thank you for keeping us on track.
Okay.
Guys.
So Driver said in his quote with the interview, he said, we presented the script to Lucasfilm. They loved the idea. They totally understood our angle and why we were doing it. We took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, and they said no. They didn't see how Ben Solo was alive, and that was that. So Adam Driver said he started this in 2021, just kind of sketching a timeline here for you guys. Bob Iger came back to Disney in 2022. So you're looking probably in a winter 2022 timeframe, summer 2023 timeframe.
Yep.
For when this decision was made. So it has been 2 years since this was kind of talked about, which probably honestly might be why he said it, because an NDA has expirations on it for some things. So,
100%. The
all right.
quote that Driver had said here, he said, we took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, and they said no. They didn't see how Ben Solo was alive, and that was that. Now, we when I saw this quote, I wanted to throw my phone. But I knew I had to trade it in to get my new phone, which I got today. And so I was like, that is a load of BS. Because the one franchise that literally has had how many people, quote unquote, come back from the dead.
And we'll reveal names and everything.
And we will discuss that portion. But just seeing that, I said that's a BS excuse. And then I took it even further. I said, you don't even have to look at Star Wars. Just look at other Disney productions where they said, that's fine. Robert Downey Jr. is back.
Of Disney.
Exactly.
Get creative.
Because I even said it in the Star Wars Alliance chat. I said, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Doom. Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine. You look at what is possibly going to be probably the biggest comeback of Marvel cinematic history with both Doomsday and Secret Wars. All those characters are presumably dead because, spoilers for people who haven't seen the X-Men films. That timeline is literally like destroyed and dead. So it doesn't I just wanted to itch my head and just scream.
It is very dumb. And Bob Iger has gotten a lot of praise for some of the moves that he chose to do with Disney Plus. Coming back to be Disney CEO because the other guy had kind of profits were taking a dive. So people were like, oh, Bob Iger's going to save us.
Bad Bob number 1. Iger, I have dubbed Bad Bob number 2.
Yep. Because, and you look at it, and a lot of people, and we're not going to name YouTubers on here who like to blame Miss Kennedy, but you look at people who are like, Kathleen Kennedy is the problem. And have we questioned Kathleen Kennedy? Yes.
Yes.
But we have never said, you're the main problem here. We knew that Disney probably had some influence here. Definitely had some influence here, let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't know to what extent. Because you hear Kevin Feige talk about Marvel, and you never really hear about Bob Iger or Alan Bergman coming into the equation here. It's like Disney said, and this is probably why Lucasfilm has struggled to put movies out, is because Disney said, no, you're on a tightrope. You don't get the capability to make your own decisions anymore. You have to come get everything approved through us.
Which, if I had heard that, I would be hiring every lawyer that I could to say, hey, how do we get out of every contract that we have with Disney and let's go somewhere else? That's my biggest thing. Yeah.
The problem is, and this is another thing that we were supposed to talk about this week, but George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney. Disney owns Lucasfilm. George Lucas was asked, did you ever think about Star Wars? And go, no, not really.
I love the quote that you shared in the chat. It was like, it was basically, I had my time to shine. I did what I wanted to with Star Wars. I have a life. Was another part of the quote, which I just cackled at, because I think we have said it so many times that there's so many people who live and breathe by, if it's not Lucas, it's not Star Wars. And to hear that, I'm pretty sure got a lot of people pissed off.
Yeah.
But with you are right. They can't just up and walk away. It is something that Disney owns. My biggest thing is, I talked to the GUA throughout, the day when all of this hit. I'm like, okay, who is it? Who needs to buy Lucasfilm away from Disney so we can actually start making movies and have a good time? And of course, Travis had his opinions. And I think the like majority of the GUA kind of agreed on, I think Apple should take it.
Yeah.
And it's more so majorly because they don't have like IP status.
Yeah.
So
And it would benefit them a lot. But like I don't see it happening.
me neither.
Lucasfilm would have to take a major dive in order for things to happen for it to be sold off.
Now, there has been for many, many years now, I want to say almost 10 years, if not more, there has been like people have constantly said, "Oh, Apple's getting ready to buy Disney. Apple's going to buy Disney. Apple's going to buy Disney." And we have yet to really see it. And we have yet to really see Apple make any moves to make it look like they are interested in buying Disney. A lot of this came from, of course, Disney actually putting in a lot of Apple products within their parks and stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is like the big thing. They're gonna, make everything Apple compatible, and then Apple's gonna buy it, and it's gonna be this giant, fun thing." And I mean, people can dream and all, and I think it would be really fun. Do you know how quickly I would buy a Star Wars themed iPhone? Like, I'm sorry, I would. And I really, really wonder what is going to happen next year, because I think I saw like maybe 2 or 3 posts of random individuals pointing out that Iger a while ago had initially said, "Hey, I'm coming back to help Disney get back up on its feet, but I'm not going to stay."
And that was 30 years ago. Almost 4.
That is true. So he could, just be like, "Hey, I'm planting my flag and I'm never leaving." But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and I truly would hope that this is because maybe Kathleen Kennedy's being forced out, and maybe Driver's like, "Nah, I'm gonna throw a wrench in the plans. I'm gonna light a fire. We're gonna see how this works." I just hope, and I know it's not gonna happen because there's still going to be people who are like, "Kathleen Kennedy is the devil." No, you can question without being insulting. And Kathleen Kennedy is a powerful filmmaker who deserves the spot that she got.
We've had our opinions on some of the decisions that they have made that have been like said to have been Kathleen's decision. Right? We've had those conversations. We've been negative on those decisions. I would never ever, if I had the chance to talk to her, just be like, "Hey, you're a horrible human being for destroying Star Wars." Which I know there's a lot of people who, crazy enough, are wanting the opportunity to do. And I think that's stupid. She is a hard worker. She's gotten to where she's gotten today because of her talent and her experience. And I would love for Adam Driver to do exactly that. To be like, "Hey, I want to light this fire just to kind of see what happens." And like a part of me thinks like I have not seen a majority of Driver's films outside of Star Wars. But correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure like the last 2 have not been super blockbusters the way that everybody was assuming they were going to be.
Let's look.
I think like Megalopolis, if I can talk correctly, Megalopolis was
Yeah,
like
that
one of
one
the
was
biggest
definitely
ones.
panned. Um, I feel like Ferrari was popular.
Ferrari
Megalopolis
was
definitely was not. So it was Ferrari and then 65. Which I enjoyed 65. 65 was fun.
65 was the dinosaur one, right?
Yeah.
See, I think there's like a lot of people who were kind of iffy on that one. I don't think it did very well, or at least like it didn't meet
Yeah.
expectations. So that's what I mean. Like, of course, when it comes to Hollywood and these, what I like to dub it actors, you see them a lot. Like they will have a string of really good roles that come in like one after the other, and you constantly see them throughout the theater, and you're like, okay, Hollywood is really betting on this person. That means they're really wanting to invest in that actor getting a lot of money and everything else. And with two out of the three not being giant hits, like I can almost see Adam Driver saying, "Hey," not saying like I'm not questioning his ability to act because I know he can
Yeah.
act like crazy. But like, "Hey, my non-Star Wars related stuff has not been hitting lately. Let's try to go back to Star Wars. Hey, what if I throw this?" Like, hey, like just like an Hail Mary, like, "Hey, maybe this will get me something" type of thing.
Yeah, because I feel like Last Duel and House of Gucci were super popular, and that would have been around the time he proposed the Hunt for Ben Solo initially. Um, but yeah, then coming in with 2023, he had two movies, and then Megalopolis was in 2024. So then
Now,
he's
Katie,
he's currently promoting Father, Mother, Sister, Brother.
you you shared a, let me see if I can find it. There was something here, or maybe I shared it. I can't remember where it is. But there was something along the lines of, oh shit, I can't find it anymore. Oh, I think it was in the regular chat, the GUA chat. Apparently, like there was a Hunt for Ben Solo like fan made trailer
Yeah.
made in 2021, and somebody like shared it online, and they're like, "Adam, are you among us?
Two
Are you
years
here
ago.
with us?" I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of a tinfoil hat that like a majority of Hollywood has like their own personal like fake Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts and everything else. So that way they can be a little bit quote unquote normal on social media. So I'm sure that made its rounds. I well here's another thing, because a lot of people have kind of made fun of the title. How do you feel about the Hunt for Ben Solo?
I don't really feel like it's a bad title. I think it would have been workshopped probably into something else. Um, but I don't hate it. And this can probably transition us into the last kind of piece of it, is like, how do we think Ben Solo would still be alive? The answer is Star Wars is sci-fi fantasy. Is There is magic. It's not just all fun games. But I think I was trying to find it. So you have Maul, who has returned from the dead. You have Palpatine, who has returned from the dead with simply a somehow Palpatine has returned. You can't just say that, hey, somehow Ben Solo has returned.
I have one even better. One that I have been asking for my entire time on Star Wars Alliance. I have been asking for this for 5 years. 5 years, Katie. I have been asking for this. And I think we can finally get it.
The World Between Worlds.
The World Between Worlds.
Well, and I think the other thing to consider, right, is that they are defined, Rey and Ben are defined as a Force dyad.
Yes.
To the point where Rey puts a lightsaber behind her back and it ends up in Ben's hands. You can't tell me that you can't go wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. He vanished, and her whole goal is now going to be finding Ben Solo because he still exists in her heart and he's out there without his memories. And so she has to find him and restore him back to life that he is meant to live. Because the other thing is that he's not a fucking Force ghost at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. So why the fuck did he disappear? We've had this conversation before.
Yes, like, it was a while ago, but yes, like the fact that he does literally just disappear, a la Yoda, a la
Luke.
Freaking Luke Skywalker, freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi, like. We didn't see any evidence afterward.
Leia
was a Force ghost. Skywalker was a Force ghost. You would think that if you saw Luke Skywalker and Leia, that there would be some sort of inkling. And I get it. Ben was a Solo. And so at the very end of the movie, they wanted to really kick home the whole idea of, oh, I'm a Skywalker now. I totally understand.
Leia was a Solo.
Yeah.
Leia was never a Skywalker.
That is also true. So it like there is so much that like you not even so much. There is literally so little that you have to do in order to make this movie happen.
And it goes back to The Rise of Skywalker entirely. I had forgotten this. I can't find the tweet now, but somebody had brought it up that J.J. Abrams actually did an interview about The Rise of Skywalker where he said, I would like to delay the film's release so that we can rewrite the script properly to account for Carrie Fisher's passing. He wanted to do the end very differently, apparently. And Bob Iger was the one who told him, no, you will do it this way. Not Kathleen Kennedy. Bob.
I did not know that. I did not know that he wanted to delay the film. I'm just randomly looking to see if there was any top tweet currently that talked about J.J. Abrams. Not that I see. But one thing that I...
Okay. Oh. So it says... So this is a Screen Rant article summarizing how bad movies are made featuring The Rise of Skywalker. It says, Abrams and Terrario's first draft of the story featured Rose staying behind from the mission, which was pitched to Bob Iger on the same day as The Last Jedi premiere before any backlash. Abrams pitching to Iger in December 2017 meant that he had to come up with a new story for the film just 4 months after being hired.
Okay.
He had 27 months to work on the film as opposed to the 36 he had on The Force Awakens in the 41 months that Rian Johnson had for The Last Jedi. The video highlights that despite popular belief, there were elements that were planned out for the trilogy in 2014, namely the idea of Rey adopting the last name of Skywalker, and Leia being key to Kylo's redemption. That's all it says.
Okay. Now, I also wanted to, because I just thought this was also really funny. The director, how do you pronounce his name again? Soder
Soderbergh?
Soderbergh. Sorry. Somebody had mentioned that I'm guessing on his letterbox that he clocked like all of the movies, all the Star Wars movies that he had watched recently. And there is apparently a huge gap. So, in 2016, Force Awakens, 2016, Rogue One, 2017, Last Jedi, 2021, A New Hope. And then February of 24, September 24, December 24 are all of the prequel and original trilogies. So he specifically did not watch Rise of Skywalker. Like, he intentionally let that one off of this. But people are noticing the gap between 2021 all the way to, so it's February 2021 and then February of 2024. And you had mentioned that there was a possibility of there being a pitch in early to mid 2023.
Yeah.
I think that is right on the money because of the dates that are here on his letterbox.
Yep, I could totally see that.
So, just wanted to point that out as well.
I had seen where he had watched the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, but had not documented that he had watched the sequel trilogy. I didn't know it was from Letterboxd.
Yeah. So before we move on to our other topic tonight, I want to bring up two questions. One, I saw a tweet today and I wanted to ask you the same thing. This tweet says, I can't help but wonder what else did Bob reject for Star Wars?
Acolyte Season 2.
And it's funny that you say that one because the other highlight that I have, my little tinfoil hat comment in our Star Wars Alliance chat, is a tweet from July of 2024. Leslie Headland on using Kylo Ren's theme for the Acolyte. It is there on purpose, but I can't tell you why, and I can't go into what it is, but you shall see.
And I do think it's because Kymir was supposed to lead to the creation of the Knights of Ren.
Yes. But now there's so many people pointing that old tweet out, and they're like, what if Adam had somehow discussed with
I don't know
Headland.
if Driver would have made that decision. I think that's more of a Kathleen Kennedy decision.
Because they because they had already made the discussions of, hey, we are going to pitch this, we're going to go in this route. That's true.
Yeah, because so the Acolyte was filming October 30th, 2022 to June 6th, 2023. So wow, there's no way. I feel like that's wrong. Okay, that's what Wikipedia says. So, not that you should source Wikipedia, but I do. So, so yeah. So I could definitely see
now
them going, hey, we have this pitch for a Hunt for Ben Solo film. Let's go ahead and plug this theme in here.
Yeah, 100%. I do want to, um, because I know that for it's until this thing is actually made. Well, here's my last question,
Okay.
and I want to know Snell's response to this as well. We know the unfortunate failure of Make Solo 2 happen, but we also know the success of Release the Snyder Cut. So I know what you're looking at, and I know you're giving me that look for a reason. But I made the tweet because I couldn't help myself. There has been a lot of people using the hashtag the hunt for Ben Solo. But I was surprised that even Travis, like, he made like a positive reaction to my comment. I had the hashtag of, oh crap, what was it?
The hunt for Ben
Yes,
Solo.
the hunt for the hunt of Ben Solo, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, but I thought it was absolutely funny just to see what everybody else would say in the chat. Is this a time where the fans should be hammering it home that this is something that we want? Or should we just let the powers that be be?
You know, for me, I'm all about like, hey, like give us like a director's cut of things, but this has never been made. I would be down if we got like a Visions interpretation of this or a book, something. I would love to see that script. But unfortunately, I just don't think. I think the Snyder cut was very different because the footage was already there. They just had to put money into the effects and finishing it out.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So I feel like that's a very different discussion. We have seen fan things happen for Star Wars, aka Rosario Dawson fan casting as Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like, so you could totally see it happen. I just don't think it will. Call
I
me a pessimist. Whatever. I don't care.
I will always, ever since, I will be completely honest. Ever since I, you know, was yelling at the top of my lungs, release the Snyder Cut, I I got the validation and I was like, boom, it could happen. There were so many people. When I had a podcast named Batman News Weekly, my co-host told me on the regular, hey, it's a pipe dream. It's never happening. It's never happening. It's never happening. And then the day that it got announced, he literally called me on the spot and said, holy shit, I can't believe it's happening. So
I I just think it's very different.
it is a very different circumstance. I will say never.
Never say never.
But one thing that I will say no to is I don't believe we can get a book out of this because of Lucasfilm's stance on everything published is canon. So,
You could do like a Ronin book, for instance, potentially. So, I you could play with the Star Wars Visions publishing area. They're starting to put more into. Again, I would agree. I would think. So, who knows? Maybe Adam Driver's got the pull. Maybe the fans have the pull to make this happen.
now,
Oh, the other thing that I wanted to say. Did you see that the director for um the Rey Skywalker movie? Oh my gosh. Shabid, oh gosh. What is her name? Tell me her name. I gotta look it up. Hang on.
I could not tell you off the top of my head.
Okay, hang on.
Director. Oh, what the heck? That's not the movie. That's
I know it's Obaid Chinoy. There we go. Charmine.
Charmine. Yep.
Okay. So, she posted this Rumi quote on her Instagram story, and a lot of people picked it up. And were like, and so the quote is, "If light is in your heart, you will find your way home." So what if she takes it and says, "Okay, I want to modify my story to match this"?
Ooh. Okay. So here. Oh. Okay. How much trouble could she get into if it's already greenlit? They're already making it. If they just do it now, here's the issue. Here's the issue that I have. I do not want because the story is that the Hunt for Ben Solo was a character-driven project. That character being Ben Solo.
That wasn't necessarily the case. He didn't say which character.
True. It is an assumption. I will say that. Shinoi's movie is supposed to be about Rey. So, I'm not entirely sure how I would feel about, unless she is the one saying, "Hey, I got you," and she makes the decision, hey, I'm all for it. But if Kathleen were to say, "Hey, before I leave, I need you to do this solid for me, for Lucasfilm, and for Adam Driver," I don't know how I would feel about that.
Yeah.
So, but if if we go into that movie and we see The World Between Worlds or an inkling of a tease of Ben Solo, I would freak out.
It could be a post-credit scene where Rey is like, she just hears Ben's voice. He goes, "Rey, you're a fucking nobody."
No, I would honestly, if it were to be any type of post-credit scene, she hasn't seen him in however many years, hasn't felt him in so many different years, but for some reason she just has a memory, and she looks down and his lightsaber is in her hand. Do you know how much I would freak the fuck out? Oh my god! That would be awesome. But no, we could see it happen. I'm gonna stick to it. Is never say never. We could see it happen. People are like I said before, people are saying that Iger's possibly leaving in 2026, and so the possibility of it coming after that is people are crossing fingers for that. But the more and more I hear about Bob Iger, the more and more I want him to leave. I think this is a full-on discussion for a later time, but there has been heavy rumors, and I will say that it is rumors. There is nothing confirmed about this, but we should possibly talk about it. Bob Iger's involvement in the meddling of Star Wars, but it was shared with us that Bob Iger apparently fought back on the Return of Clone Wars. He fought back on a Son of Dathomir series. He was the one who turned down an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. He killed the Old Republic and Darth Bane series. There's a lot of different rumors stating that Iger himself is the one that has been meddling with Lucasfilm. And so I think that would be a really fun discussion to kind
Yeah.
of break those down and talk about what that means for Disney and Lucasfilm's relationship.
Yep. We'll see what we can do in terms of putting that in. But are we ready to transition to our last order review?
Yes. Let's do it. We had the awesome chance of getting the Last Order novel early.
Yes. Thank you so much, Random House. We appreciate it.
Yes, very much so. This book. Well, I want to know surface level non spoiler thoughts, Katie.
Um,
Where on the spectrum of Star Wars novels that we have read, where is this book?
so I think so this is not a spoiler. So I truly believe that my opinion on this book was affected by the synopsis of the book.
Okay, so we're on the same level.
Yes, and I only had a chance to read this once. So I still plan on going back, and maybe it'll be a future discussion where we go, okay, we've reread this. How do we feel now without knowing what we're getting into? Because, guys, I can basically count, there is less than 10 chapters after The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
Everything else is pre-Force Awakens. And guys, the summary says, following the end of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, the Resistance rescues a ship full of young passengers who have been kidnapped by the First Order. As Finn and Janna set out to find the First Order officer responsible before he can endanger any more children, the two former stormtroopers must wrestle with their own complicated past as soldiers of the oppressive regime. Take a deep dive into the past of popular characters, Finn and Janna, in this action-packed story that fans have been asking for. Guys, this was not the story fans have been asking for. This was a reason, and don't get me wrong, I think Mbalia's work on the book is very good. He balances everything phenomenally.
Yes. And that is the reason why I wanted to ask for your non-spoiler thoughts and your ranking of this book, because I had the exact same quote-unquote problem. Is the expectation that the synopsis gave for this book is literally not what the book is.
Yes. You might could say that last line of the synopsis is how they get away with it. Guys, when you are summarizing a book in a synopsis, it is supposed to be the main
overall
storytelling, the overall. We spend more time before The Force Awakens than we do after The Rise of Skywalker. So I don't know why The Rise of Skywalker was even mentioned in this. Like, this is not a post-sequel trilogy book. This is a before Force Awakens book.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the timeline listed as after The Rise of Skywalker. So it's going on my bookshelf after The Rise of Skywalker novelization because whatever. But that is the most frustrating thing to me about this book, is that it was said to be a post-sequel trilogy book, and it's not.
I 100% agree. Also, I want to make light of this conversation because I know that it sounds like we are very negative on this. This book does a really funny thing. If people are not aware, stormtroopers don't have names. They have numbers. So, as me, a person who can't memorize most of anything for shit, when I am reading these random numbers, I'm like, okay, I am reading a book about random stormtroopers. And it wasn't until about chapter 20 that I'm like, wait a second. What was Finn's number again?
Yep.
Oh, okay. For the past 20 chapters, what I thought was a random stormtrooper was Finn. Oh, wait. Jannah is also in this book. I never even knew her number. I have to go research that. What
Well,
is her number?
And that was the point in the chapter with her identifying with the flower, is to kind of give you that hint of, oh, okay, this is Jannah. The problem still lies in the fact that most people are not numbers people. And I didn't have any problems with the Stormtrooper numbers. Because eventually, like in Jannah's scenes, it boiled down to the nicknames. In Finn's Stormtrooper scenes, it boiled down to the numbers. So 55 and 87 weren't too bad. If it had been more, I probably would as like a main character. I really, I mainly struggled with the layout of this book because of how because of how they chose to spread out the present chapters versus past chapters. I think if they had gone top to bottom and said, "Hey, we're going to start off with an introduction, post Rise of Skywalker, and then we're going to give us a reason to go in the past, and we're going to spend the majority of the time in the past." But then we get to the end of the past chapter, and then we go back to the present, kind of look in instead of interspersing present day chapters within the past chapter. I think that would have been a lot more successful, even though I'm not a fan of it. I still don't like it. Let's be clear. I think that would have been a lot more successful because, like, you have new character Chloe who has a respiratory problem and kind of needs a little bit of help. He's not as fleshed out as I would like because you forget about it.
Yeah.
And wait a second. Now I'm back in the present because the identifiers for the past chapter, guys, they're a first order logo. And that's how you know you're transitioning. If you're also not successful, you can put the book down in the middle of it. And
Well,
you're like, where am I?
not only that, the way that this book transitions the very first time is there is on one whole page, it says years earlier.
Yep.
It never then comes back to saying now or present time or anything else. So the years earlier page, I think, although sets up a tone of, hey, we're going back, just so you know, we're going to move in this direction. If you were going to set that up, there needs to be a, like, hey, we're going back page also.
Yeah, because I literally, when I figured out that, hey, the past chapters, there's multiple past chapters, I had to figure that out on my own because I was expecting, okay, hey, we got years later, now we're transitioning to a new chapter. I was expecting to see Finn and Jannah, and you don't get that. You still are in the past.
One
So
thing that I
back
think
and forth.
One thing that I also think is an indicator that I'm just now realizing is the literal chapter, the word chapter. When it's present tense, when it's in the present, when it's in the now, the word chapter is spelled out completely. When we are not in the present time, chapter is spelled, it's abbreviated CHPTR.
I noticed that, but I didn't put that together.
Neither did I until literally just now. I thought this was because guys, one thing that you need to know about reviewing these books, because we get them early, there is a big chance, a probable chance that we are getting a unedited version of a book. That has happened before.
I'm so used to that, but this is edited. This is, I'm guessing, what everybody else is getting.
I assume so. Now that, like, it's clicking that...
Yeah.
Because when I first saw that, I was like, oh, that's a little silly. Why would they misspell the word chapter?
That's what I was like, too. I was like, that's weird.
But yeah, now that I actually see it, I legitimately think that the word chapter is supposed to... Yeah, because, like, if you go to all of the chapters that have the full word spelt out, within the first sentence or two, you realize that we are following a character named Koi. So yeah, that's something else that I understand the cleverness of the indicators, but it, unfortunately, with something like this, I think it needs to be spelled out to us.
Especially considering you're going to run into, like, I am very curious how the audiobook does, because in an audiobook that's not going to translate.
So I could tell you, because
Yes.
for myself, I only got one read through in. Because guys, I am unprepared all the time. A little bit of inside baseball. Katie and I were going to have another book review this past weekend, and I thought that review was going to happen literally tonight after the show, and this review that we're literally doing right now was going to be next week. I don't know how to look at a calendar. I apologize. So I was knee deep. Sorry, not deep, knee deep. I was like ears deep in our other book. That other book, by the way, being Master of Evil. Not going to spoil anything from there. I was, ears deep into that book. And then Katie was like, hey, we have to pivot. There's some things going on, and we'll have to do that at another time. So we'll have to do this. And I was like, wait, are you telling me that I should have already been reading this book? And so I was like, oh, speed reading time.
I just want to point out on our schedule, which I have not edited since we pivoted, it says October 19th, Master of Evil recording.
Again, I don't know how to look at a calendar. I just see I just see literally the titles, and I'm like, oh, those are the books that I need to be reading right now. That's all I see. And I was so close to the end of Master of Evil that I was like, oh, I could definitely read The Last Order in time. And then when you said that, I was like, oh, I should have this book already done with. Crap. So I was speed reading for like the last 3 days, which, by the way, I will also say this. There is no need to attempt a speed read. This is a very easy book to read. And
it's a very easy book. And I know, guys, that for the first 15 minutes of this, we have focused on the negativity portion of it. I'm basically done with the negativity portion. I'm really talking about how much fun
same here. Mumbalia, he is more famous for writing young adult novels. So for the writing style, it's very easy to comprehend. It's a very simple read.
Yeah, I would say this is definitely true young adult, whereas some of the Star Wars books recently young adult books have leaned more new adult. This is like a true young adult. Yeah. I feel like here. Reads very similar to Alex Segura's Poe Dameron book Freefall.
I was going to say, because I haven't read Freefall, looking at the young adult novels that we have read for the High Republic and just, normal timeline Skywalker saga stuff, I would say this book is in the same writing style, but better than Padawan, in my opinion.
Yes.
As far as like the flow of the book and everything else, I think that this uh, is a tier above Padawan. Now, the audiobook. Listening to the audiobook, there is the transitions do not say like before or after or now or anything else. The only thing that really tells you that you are like in a transition of the past compared to the future or compared to present time is that the past chapters are all dealing with stormtroopers. So everybody has like some sort of vocoder. Like
Okay.
the voice is altered. But this is one narrator. So
Yeah.
I have to literally wait until one of the numbers is mentioned until I can finally realize, oh, okay, we're following this person, not the other person.
Yeah. I don't know if then because I got the audiobook on Audible. I don't know if I'll listen to it then. I may hold on to it just for like a rainy day. But I definitely would get super confused, even though I know already that there's less than 10 present day chapters. I think I would get confused, especially with following stormtroopers and, like you said, the vocoder portion of it.
That being said, I want to go ahead and also state that this narrator, Torian Brackett, he has been apparently on all of the dramatized versions of Fourth Wing. He plays a voice in there. I, as a very big fan of audio and audio dramas, I think his voice sounds great. I really like his voice. I'm probably
Okay.
going to look for more of his audiobooks. So it is not a like I think that's
Poorly
the
narrated one.
yes. The only thing is because I know now that we follow Finn and Janna. There is because of the way that they did the sound design on the vocoder. There is no real distinction of female versus male. That's one of the biggest things. But I do like the narrator's voice. I think he did a very excellent job. So let's get down to more of the positive things, the reasons we had fun for this book. Katie, what was some of the big highlights for you?
Um, so I really enjoyed getting to know Jana better. I feel like a lot of the times where we have got, well, I say a lot of the times, she's only been in 2 projects so far. Um, I liked getting that expansion um, of her character because I think there's a lot of promise there. And so getting the how and the why of why she left um the First Order and how she left the First Order and how much she cared about her squad. I really enjoyed that and had a lot of fun with it. Um, and I think Mabalia really did a fantastic job of just expanding things
Mm-hmm.
and making it work within the parameters of probably what he was given uh, because there's not a lot known. And so to truly go into that area with a character that's mostly undeveloped, it's a super cool experience, I'm sure. And he did a fantastic job with it. His Finn work, I really enjoyed what he did with Finn. I will say that I think he probably struggled a little bit more with Finn than Janna. In my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, I think the Janna chapters were a little bit better, probably because there's more known about Finn.
And that
Uh,
was what I was wanting to bring up. I think for Finn, you have to have a precise ending point with how Finn looks at life.
mhm.
And I think that does fit very well. When you look at like it does and it doesn't. There's a little bit of a tit for tat here for me here. We know that the first time we see Finn is in Force Awakens, and he literally starts having a panic attack and he wants to leave the order, right? Like
Mhm.
we see that. We know that. How does he get there? This book can very well tell you, "Hey, this is where he first starts to get those little inklings."
Yep.
The only problem is when he ends the book, where he ends in this book, it very much feels on a more positive note when it comes to like the past, like not literally where the book ends, but where his past story ends.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's a little bit more on a positive note, so it does contradict just a little bit. But I will 100% agree that Janna, not being a well-known character, he had all the reins to be like, hey, I can write whatever I want here to establish this character, and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. We have our inclusion, of course. These are two characters of color.
We also have a disabled representation with Koi Tria.
Yes.
Um, there's not a lot. There's some little flirtation, I would say, with Poe and Finn to kind of beef up that headcanon portion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you wanted to call them attracted to each other. Um, but there's nothing like
Flirtatious
confirmed
bros. Hey,
there.
hey, flirtatious bros. Hey, my best friend and I flirt all the time. Like we do that all the time. But that was one thing that I was a little disappointed in. It's not a huge retraction of like what this book does,
Hmm.
but it has been a big point of ours to say, hey, Star Wars has made leaps and bounds in the progression of inclusion. So when I was reading this, I was looking for those things,
Hmm.
and not having a obvious inclusion of LGBTQ
LGBT.
plus. Yeah, was a little bit of a downer for me, but I think that the very well written story of Janna
Hmm.
does make up for that a little bit.
Yeah, and Mambalia has um he's got more focus on people of color in this and disabled, so obviously we want to see everybody represented, but I think he does a good job um with the representation that he has
Hmm.
present. And really, I don't see a lot of room for where he could have introduced like a romantic relationship other than with Foe and Foe. Ship name.
That's the
Jin
ship
and Poe.
name, foe. Now, well, so here's the other thing that I kind of think I know why he could not put an LGBTQ plus character in here.
Because of the current environment.
No, not because of the current environment, because everyone that we really see in this book, we have to remember, and it's something that I was very much like aware of while reading this. This is the First Order. These
Yeah,
are the bad guys.
the
Uh,
stormtroopers have trained romance out of their kids,
yeah.
basically.
So there is that, but like the weird thing is like we had this like weird fantasization that like there is people who were truly wanting to help people. We've never seen this side of the First Order of stormtroopers before. When we read from a certain point of view, We definitely had the I want vengeance for my family stormtroopers,
Yeah.
but we've never had, hey, let's make this galaxy a better place stormtrooper. So that being said, when we do see these stormtroopers, there's either a lot of them being shown as bad guys, or a lot of them being killed and punished by superiors. I would not want to create a character for Star Wars, especially being LGBTQ plus, just to kill them off.
Yeah, especially because I think Mabalia does a very good job articulating how the the First Order's working. I mean, there's a whole battalion dedicated to finding traitors within the Stormtrooper battalions. And so I think he does a good job with that. And I think you're right that that would have come off worse than not having anybody present.
Yeah.
You're definitely right there. Um, what did you think about Captain Phasma being present? And I know you haven't met Captain Cardinal before, but Captain Cardinal is also a previous character who was introduced in the Delilah S. Dawson books, Captain Phasma, and oh gosh, what is the Black Spire? Um,
So these characters, again, like Katie said, I have no idea who they were. All I know is, oh, you're a big shot in the First Order.
you know who Phasma is.
Except for Phasma. I knew who Phasma was. So, like, I got an inkling, like, especially, like, with Jaina's story. Like, and both, honestly, both Finn and Jaina, they had this mentality, and because it's more so because the Force Order beats this mentality into their subordinates, is the idea of, hey, I gotta move up. I got to be on the good side of all these people. Jaina mentioned Phasma several times throughout her story. And she was like the big thing, small spoiler, is remembering the dreams. She has these dreams, and you could tell that even before this particular story, these dreams were reoccurring because even her squad had known about them. And it's very much a like fear mongering of Phasma, like egging her to be better and to try to reach the top, quote unquote. So, like, I liked, like, because honestly, there's a, like, in one of the very last chapters, there's a Phasma chapter where she's like getting a message from somebody from a data pad, and he's like apparently doing it all wrong. She completely destroys the data pad, and she's like, you come to me and say that this ship that just came in had the right codes, but you didn't even look to see if it was actually the person that they said they were. I want you to personally give me all of my messages from here on out. That is your new job. You're going to tell your superior that that is your new job. And every single time you come to me giving me my messages, every single one will be an evaluation. Like, chills, Katie. I was like, ooh, this is the Phasma that I would love to see. And then,
Oh, you're gonna love Phasma then. Delilah Dawson does an incredible job with her.
immediately after, she gets the news that everybody is dead upon this one mission. And you learn more about that later. But she gets so pissed off, she wants to hit something. And so she's like, oh, hey, you, come into my office real quick. And then the chapter ends and you're like, oh, snap. Like, you just know that that person is not coming out of there alive. So I really enjoyed those moments. Everyone else, the other top officials in the First Order, I felt was really well written for what the First Order has always been known to be, what the Empire transitioned to be. Like, we know them as these people who are not the types of people who want to serve the galaxy, right? They want to serve themselves. We have talked about this many, many times before. The only way that people in the Empire and in the First Order move up is if they step on others first.
Yep.
Seeing that play out throughout these chapters, I think was very, very well written.
Yep.
I really did enjoy it.
100%. I completely agree. The no old troopers thing, really cool.
Yeah.
To like tie in, because you could kind of see that from the movies and then other things. Just
Well,
kind of spread out. So
yeah, even so, there is a quote on page 343. It is.
Wow. I opened it to the exact page.
That's awesome. It is Major Goal or Gal or Goal. I can't remember how you pronounce it. This one quote from him, and I was like, I need to set this marker here. It says, "And who do you think manufactured these heroes?" Because Finn 2187 is telling him that we're supposed to be heroes, and he's like, "Oh well, who do you think manufactures those heroes?" "I do. The idols you worship, the soldiers you champion, the history you commemorate. I create that. I build your
Adaptation.
yeah, I build your adaptation. I design your rage, the thirst for vengeance. I am the First Order. Without my words, you would have no purpose, no motivation." That within itself, when I read that, I was like, I think this might be one of the best written mustache twirling Star Wars villains, because there's a lot of Star Wars villains. There's not a lot of mustache twirling villains.
Yep.
And Major Gaul is by definition a mustache twirling villain. Like, he hit all of the check marks in this book. And with that monologue there, I was like, this is just gold. I really love his character.
It really does. Mambalia does an incredible job bringing in the propaganda machine into this, talking about like morale sessions and like the end of the day reports, where basically, and we see it happen because one of Jana's missions is manipulated around what it actually was, and she hears that report and she's like, that's not what happened. And
the same thing happens with Finn.
Yeah. One of her squad mates has to go, okay, but that is what happened. Otherwise, you're dead. Like, you have to focus. And so he just does a really good job with that. Now, I don't want to spoil the end, but this is the last question I had for you. I really loved how Mabalia mapped out redemption and not perpetuating the cycle of, hey, let's just get revenge on everybody over and over and over again.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up. Because as somebody who very famously on this podcast is always saying, where's my Star Wars happy ending? Where's my Star Wars happy ending? Where's my Star Wars happy ending? This technically has a Star Wars happy ending. Again, not going to spoil what happens. There was a little bit of me, an itty bitty part of me, that was like, F this. I don't want my happy ending here.
I was the same way.
I want this cycle to continue with just this last person. Like, the cycle can end here, but let's not just move aside and be like, hey, let's all hold hands, kumbaya. That was kind of like the one thing, this was very much a with slightly spoiling the ending. A with the power of love, we're going to win all, type of ending.
Yep.
And I think there is really good stories that have that, and then there's stories that don't really hit the mark. This overall book is a satisfying read, but throughout reading the very disturbing and heinous crimes that the First Order is committing throughout this entire book, what our two heroes go through that time, and then seeing that happen at the end, there was a little bit of me that was like, oh, hell no.
It's so big for me because, especially raising a daughter, there's things that happened in my childhood that I don't want to perpetuate. There's things that happened to my mom that I don't want to perpetuate through the generations and everything. So that is something that I am trying to learn myself when it comes to life. And so I actually really enjoyed seeing this because, like, with the Ben Solo news, it was a really big topic in my family chat, and I had to reiterate, yeah, I didn't want Ben Solo redeemed. I wanted him to stay Kylo Ren. He can go rot in hell, basically. I know I'm, like, very few person on that, but, like, I didn't even want Anakin redeemed. Like, obviously, I knew he got redeemed, but, like, watching Revenge of the Sith and then reading Revenge of the Sith is like, I don't want Anakin redeemed.
Well,
Why would I want the dude redeemed?
There is a, and it has been a very big topic of conversation, I think, throughout the last 10 to 15 years, for sure. The idea, and I have famously said this, had this debate with comic book characters, specifically like Marvel and DC villains, is like, oh, villains don't just stay villains anymore. They always have to go through this redemption arc. And I think you're partially right. Like, I want a villain that stays a villain, especially for a story like as timeless, quote unquote, as the Star Wars franchise can be. Like, the idea, because even Travis Snell will agree with me, like, there's no reason why he should be a quote-unquote Force ghost going to Force heaven when he murdered a whole bunch of children. Like,
Yep.
And we meme about it all the time, but, like, it's true.
Yeah, it is.
And technically, Kylo Ren did almost the same thing. He, murdered and butchered people and did all these other things. We didn't see him kill any kids, but, like, he was still a very bad person. So,
Yeah.
like, it's a very, like, I can see where that discussion can be on thin ice for some people. And with this, I think for sure, no questions asked, the First Order is still the bad guy. The First Order is still the equivalent of Nazis. Like, let's be real, people. But the way they played it through in the story of redemption and everything else, I still understand why they took the route that they did and how it makes sense. I just want to throw that out there.
No, I do. I agree. That's just my personal opinion. I can see how it makes sense. It's just my personal opinion. Okay, that's all it is. But y'all, that is all I had. I think we have covered basically everything and anything in this book. I know, guys, I hope you got through the first 15 minutes of this review because we really just needed to harp on the formatting part of it.
Yeah, and it's I think one thing for sure that it is very important, and maybe something that we can, hopefully in the future discuss with somebody like Tom, or pick the brain of this fine author of, like, hey, why did we go this route instead of doing something a little bit more plain out, written
Yeah.
the way that that probably some people wanted it to be. But who knows? Like we can what if this thing to death. It's already published. It's a book that exists, and we did as we took another 40 minutes to discuss. We did enjoy this book.
Yep. 100%. All right. Well, Clay, where can they find you?
Of course, you can find me at Fanboy Clay on any and all social media. I want to apologize again for the lack of content on our other socials. I am having a hell of a time potty training a child right now. I am honestly really surprised that I still have hair on my head. And that is literally taking every bit of my day. She's never going to listen to these podcasts or these episodes. My daughter has peed on my shoes twice. So like I love her to death, but like my shoes were literally just by the coffee table, and we put her little potty like next to or close to the TV, so that way while she's playing with her toys and like we're watching TV as a family, if she needs to go, she doesn't feel like she's like missing out. Like we've even told her like, hey, we can pause the movie or we could pause your show. Like these are things that can happen. She can't comprehend that, so she feels like she's missing out. She holds it in and like all this other stuff, and we don't want her to do that. So we're like, hey, we're gonna put this small potty right here in the living room. Whenever you need to, just go. And she just forgot to sit on the potty, and I just saw all of this splashing, and my shoes were right there. And so I was like, oh, fun.
I think we're close to getting the stool to expose her to pottying. I need her to be able to communicate more first. So,
yes, I would 100%. Because here's the thing also. When we first introduced it to her, she like did it like on the first 3 tries. And we're like, cool, you got it. And then like she never wanted to use it again. And so now we're having to like super incentivize. And me being a person who was raised by military parents and all of this stuff, like I am not the right person to be doing this because I am super frustrated. I'm like, I'm taking away all your toys. I'm taking away the TV. You need to go potty. And it's just like not the right thing to do. So I'm learning as well, guys. Like I am not a perfect parent. But yeah, all that to say, content is coming to our socials. I'm
trying. I put a question box up and nobody answered.
Katie, I realized that as soon as I like reposted it, I was like, I should have answered the question also. But I like it didn't even like 2 and 2 did not like connect with me. And it's probably because I was going insane with trying to potty train my child.
You're fine.
But also, yes, I want everybody to applaud Katie for also putting in the effort, for putting amazing content. Amazing. Because the thing is, I put out content that is just literally generated by images and audios and everything else. You're putting your face out there, which I think is amazing.
If
so
I
thank
could
you.
figure out how to do the green screen thing, I could do reels, but I can't figure that out. So, anyways, y'all, you can follow me on most social media platforms. It is at SliceKatie. Remember, guys, this show is on, like Clay said, it is on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. It's Star Wars Alliance. There's no A in the Wars. Very important. Don't forget it. That is also our email address, guys. That username's, again, Star Wars Alliance, no A in the Wars, at gmail.com. So, with that, guys, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you are listening or watching, and we will see y'all next time. May the Force be with you.